The eighth and final season of the Red Devils Rising gets underway after a pretty busy transfer window in which quite a few players left, and maybe not for the money I thought we were going to get for them, but that's okay because I believe the players we brought in will be better than some of the players that left. It's a season of transition for the Red Devils, and it's going to be interesting to play, especially with Champions League football. My name's FM21, and this is the Red Devils Rising. These are the outs. Luca Ranieri, or these are the released players, I should say. Luca Ranieri, Patrick Drews, Anthony LaCroix, and Yuri Almeida all left on free transfers. I offered Ranieri a contract, and he did not want one, or he did not want to sign with us. He turned around and signed with Eintracht Braunschweig. Patrick Drews was my backup goalkeeper who played maybe one game in 4 years for us. He went to Burbach. Anthony LaCroix was a defensive left back and defensive center back, 23 years old, like 2-star current ability, 2.5-star potential ability, just wasn't going to be a fit on the team. He is playing in, I just saw it, Chemnitz. And then Yuri Almeida was kind of in the same position, defensive left back, defensive center back, who wasn't going to get any better than he is now. He's at Conquense. They're a Spanish club. I know that. Second Division Pro A. That's like 4th Division, if I remember correctly, and I'll admit I could be misremembering. On the free transfers, we had a few come in. First, Christopher Christensen, and say that 5 times fast. 17 years old, here's depth for the under-19 squad more than anything else. 2.5-star grade out ability, 2-star potential ability. He's got a couple stats that are nice, the 15 first touch, 12 passing, 12 teamwork, 12 vision, 14 work rate. 11 decision making, but the 4 determination is a bit of a killer, as is the 5 bravery, the 2 strength as well. But frankly, I needed bodies on my under 19s, and he was actually one of the better ones of the bunch. Levante Varga comes in as well, also for under 19 depth, 2-star, 2 gray star current ability, 1.5-star potential ability, which I think is interesting given that his physicals are actually fairly solid for someone his age. His mentals aren't too bad either. His technicals are where he's really let down, and for some reason they keep falling. It's probably because my youth coaches are not doing the job they're supposed to do. I had a huge turnover in my coaching ranks. A lot of coaches got poached by other teams after the season ended and their contracts ended. Peter Schultz is in the same boat, 1.5-star gray current ability, 2.5-star potential ability, here for depth on the under 19s more than anything else. On the loan deals, Ahmed Madeb, Konstantin Wiesenborn, Edouard Challet, Heinrich Arjau, and Yannick Fleischner all went out on loan. The ones I'm really kind of keeping my eyes on are Edouard Challet and Yannick Fleischner, who is a right back but can also play striker as well. 19 years old. Not that far from first team level, physically really gifted. Mentally has some positives, also has some negatives with the 5 concentration in that. Technically is also not too bad. Chalet, I'm interested to see how he performs with more full-time football. He had a couple of very nice appearances for us last year. Physically, very, he's got a ton of potential, I think. Physically and mentally, he's very, very good. Technically, 15 first touch, 16 heading, 13 passing, 11 technique, combined with a 14 jumping reach and some of these physicals. He's a very good target man. He also plays a very good pressing forward. They got him as complete forward here, but I wouldn't play him as that. I'd play him as a pressing forward. But keeping an eye on them this season and seeing how they do is going to be very fun to watch. Cash and clause transfers. I knew we were going to be busy on the outs. I didn't think we were going to be this busy, to be honest with you. I'm going to sort by value here, and if I'm lucky, it'll keep that, but maybe not. Hamza Benazer ended up going to Bayern. He was a defensive center back / defensive midfielder who I brought in and just got upset with his lack of playing time. I got upset with the fact that he just wasn't developing. His stats now are not that much different than when we brought him in. They maybe gone up in 1 or 2 places, but he just never really improved. And that's with me taking over the training for him for a little bit. The one game he did get for us, he did a kind of job. For a guy we brought in for free, we turned around and sold him for 82,000 euros. That's not too bad. Victor went to Ankaraspor. Defensive midfielder, 21 years old, was one of those players who just never really developed properly. I mean, he's 1.5-star current ability, 2-star potential ability. I got him, let me see here, last year on a free as more depth on the B squad and the under-19s than anything else. And Karlspor came in, made an unsolicited offer for him. I said, yeah, sure. I'm pretty stocked. And I've got better, younger players I would much prefer to play. Berger Nygaard, again, another one of those players who was stuck on the B squad, defensive center back, defensive right back, 2-star current ability, 2.5-star potential ability, isn't going to get much better than he is now. Had no place on our squad, but can go to a team like Braun and be a solid contributor, have a solid career ahead of him. He went for $135,000, and I believe he's also another player we brought in on a free. Yeah, we got him on a free. We loaned him out. He had an okay season at Darmstadt, and then did fairly well at Randers as well. And then it was one of those cases where I got him more first team playing time, and he just never really got any better. I suspect maybe if I'd been in charge of the trading and stuff like that, he may have reached 3 stars, but I don't know. Rene Stietzig, a couple of teams made unsolicited offers for him, and I turned him down, and he got upset. And the more I looked at him, and the more I compared him, and the more I went back and looked at the scout reports and everything like that. This says 2-star current ability, 2.5-star, maybe 3-star potential ability. And that tells me he's not getting much better than he is now. Now, physically, he's not too bad. He's quick, he's pacey, he has good agility. Mentally, he's okay. The concentration and bravery are a little bit on the low side for me. The positioning's kind of bad, too. Technically, I don't know. I think when I first scouted him, I think the scouts I had scouting him were not the best, and I thought he would develop more than he had. Now, he has some under-21 caps in that for Denmark. He's an okay player, but not at the Bundesliga level. Frankly, I think I probably overpaid for him when I got him from Copenhagen. The fact that Copenhagen was willing to let him go kind of speaks volumes, because they're actually a really decent squad when it comes to developing players and things like that. National Madeira made the best offer for him. He wanted to go to Portugal. He's in Portugal. He's sitting on the bench. Aurelien Nguambia, the player I absolutely screwed up by signing him after he already played for 2 teams, and he spent 6 months sitting on the bench. Was getting older, wanted to go to some place with more playing time, and I said, yeah, sure. One of those guys who, he's a dude. He fills a role, and he does it nicely. I didn't expect great things from him. I expected him to do a solid job. In the limited playing time he got for us as a backup, he did a solid job. He had a season for us where he had 3 starts and a lot of bench appearances, and that was his primary role. He was a sub. We lost a little bit of money on him. We got him in for 3. We sold him for 2. But at the same time, I didn't want to keep him here if he didn't want to be here. I got younger players I can bring in and get some playing time, and I'm more than happy to do that. Marco Hen went to St. Etienne. He's kind of lost in the midfield. Now, he's a solid player. I would have been okay keeping him. He's 2.5-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability. I would have been okay keeping him. He would have been a backup for us as I'm clicking all over the place. 22 years old. Pretty solid physically, pretty solid mentally. I mean, a 7 concentration, a 7 positioning, those are the only things to really kind of rag on, and even then, that's not horrible by any stretch of the imagination. Technically, solid but unspectacular. He would have been a bench player for us at best. He got some appearances for us. I sent him out on loan more than once, and he just never really got better or improved. I would have thought at Duisburg, especially in the Bundesliga 2, and Paderborn. Well, the Paderborn loan spell was that was one of those cases where I sent him out, and the coach just absolutely refused to play him, and I pulled him back after 4 games. Duisburg, he got a decent amount of starts. He got 16 appearances, was okay. Last year for us, had 9 starts, but also came in off the bench as well, was okay. But I have better players. He wasn't going to see a lot of playing time here, and St. Etienne made an offer for him. The fact that, can I go back to him? We got him in, I believe he came in one of our youth intakes, and we turned around, sold for 2.7. That's not bad. What's he valued at? 8? Okay. I think maybe they're projecting a little bit there, But at the same time, I believe we got a sell-on clause with him. I wonder if I can check that here, I think. I thought maybe I had a sell-on clause with him. I am probably mistaken and thinking of another player. How's Mazzini doing? I haven't looked at him in a while. He's getting a ton of money to be a part-time starter. Okay. Anyhow, back to our squad. Jan Zivkak, this took a bit of doing. I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to keep him. And comparing him to Bernat and Zivkak are fairly close now. Zivkak's a little bit more physical. Bernat's a bit better mentally and technically. But in looking at the scout reports and seeing how they've grown the past few seasons, Zivkak is pretty near his potential, I believe. He's 2-star current ability. I think that's 4 stars because that last star there is a little bit darker. 4-star potential ability. The issue is he's 21 years old, and he's not going to get first-team playing time here on a consistent basis. He and Bernat would be, he would be the bench player coming off. He plays a decent striker as well, so he'd be on the bench as a sub. Bernat would get the starts, and he wouldn't develop like I would want him to. We bought him in for 53,000 euros from Sparta Prague. He had a couple of decent seasons for us. He had a really good season at Arminia Bielefeld a couple of years ago, which made me think he and Bernat would be fighting it out, especially after Thaki left. And Bernat just took the role and made it his. Now, Bernat has injury issues, and that kind of played a role in whether or not I was going to let Zivkak go. But at the end of the day, Nuremberg came in, made an unsolicited offer for him for like 3-something and some added incentives. I got him up to 4.3. He's valued at 4.9. I think that's a good deal for us. Now, it's possible when we play Nuremberg, he could come back and get his revenge. And frankly, I'm not saying I'd be okay with that. I think it'd be kind of cool, though. George had to go outside. Sorry there. Teams started coming after De Graca and Pellegrini almost as soon as the season ended. We'll go to Pellegrini first. Ancelotti started watching our games. When I signed him, I told him he could use the club as a stepping stone. Juve came and offered a contract for him, 36 million euros straight up, and I said yes. I didn't think haggling with them would be worth it. He had a brilliant season for us last year. He was very good at replacing Goebbels. For a player we bought in for 2.3, turning around and moving him for 36 million is a very good deal. I would have liked to have kept him for another season. He didn't want to stay, especially with all these bigger clubs coming after him. At one point in time, Bayern wanted him. A lot of Italian clubs wanted him. A couple of clubs in Spain wanted him. My only deal in letting him go was that he wasn't going to go to a club in Germany because I don't want to face him. So he did absolutely a brilliant job for us. I think it's fair to say we rejuvenated his career because he really wasn't going anywhere or doing anything until he came to Kaiserslautern. And he helped get us to where we are now. And I can't be upset about that. Marco de Graca was interesting. He had teams coming after him left and right. And I would accept an offer for him, and then he would refuse the contract. And then it got to the point where he was like, he's happy to stay. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll keep you. I would have been happy if he'd stayed. He was the last player that left. And the transfer window's not over. It's got like another week left, but I don't think we're going to be making any more moves unless someone comes in with an offer that just absolutely blows me out of the water for a player. And I don't think that's going to happen. But anyhow, the first couple of times he talked to teams, he rejected the contracts. Then other teams came after him. He had no interest in talking to him, so I would just decline those. And then other teams would come up and he'd be like, well, I'm not really interested in moving, but I'll listen to their offer. Napoli came along, made an offer for him. He's like, I'll listen to him. And I clicked, okay. And then like 2 days later, he had signed for them. Now it's 19.75 million up front, going to 31.5 based on appearances and some other add-ons. For a guy we brought in on a free, that is a really good move. He is a solid player across the board. He had a brilliant season for us last year. Him and Pellegrini were a very good 1-2 punch. I think it's fair to say that we resuscitated his career too. I mean, he was kind of lost in Juve. They loaned him out, and they essentially let him go on a free. We picked him up. He had 15 goals for us the first season, 13, 14, 29 last season, although admittedly like 6 of those were in that Pokal game. Well, I mean, he had, what was it? It was 49 goals overall last season, but like 6 of them were in that first round Pokal game. So moving him on for 20 million euros, going up to 31.5, which I do think we will see a decent amount of, was a really good deal for us. For a player who's valued at 22.5, that was a good move, I think. So we spent a little bit of money too, not like huge amounts for one player, but we bought some solid players. We're going to take these guys in order here. First in is Macaulay Sutherland from Rangers. He is, well, take your pick. He's either, well, he's De Graca's replacement, I would say, because he plays the pressing forward. 20 years old, comes to us from Rangers. Came through their youth system. They loaned him out a couple times to Inverness and Dundee. He had some really good seasons for them. He had a really good season for Rangers last year. 35 appearances, 16 goals, 4 assists, 4 players of the match, and didn't want to re-sign with them. Wanted to move to a bigger club. I made an offer for him, 25.5 million euros. A couple other teams made offers for him as well, and he decided to sign with us, which I am more than happy with. He's 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. Physically, he's not dominating in a lot of areas, but he can get the job done. His main strengths are his balance, his jumping reach, and his strength. He is also a very good header. One of the reasons I'm playing him at pressing forward more than anything else is because he can do a very good job there. His finishing is a little bit on the low side for the role, as is his concentration, but everything else is great. Mentally, he is a very solid player. Technically, the first touch is nice, the heading is nice, the passing is okay, the technique is nice. And the fact that he's 20 years old means he will definitely improve in some of these areas. He likes to play with his back to the goal, he comes deep to get the ball, and he attempts overhead kicks. I think, depending on how the season goes, I'm playing him at a pressing forward right now. I might switch him to a complete forward, or target man, depending on who we're playing. I think what I might do is actually play him as a complete forward on support for a few games and see how he does. And if he fits the role really well and he's not making a ton of big mistakes and things like that, we can move him there permanently. Peter Thiel is a youth player from Austria Vienna, one of my scouts found. He is 18 years old. He's 3-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. He is this good already. I saw him as a 17-year-old, and I made an offer for him last year. And they were like, there's no way on earth we were selling him for any price whatsoever. And then he wanted to leave. It was a situation similar to Sutherland. I came in, I made an offer. I inquired, I said, hey, how much do you want for him? And they named me a number, and I said, sold. I didn't negotiate or anything like that. I think this kid has the potential to be a world-class right back. He is this good already at 18 years old. Physically, he's very good. The team natural fitness is about the only bad thing you can say about him, and that's going up. Mentally, holy cow. 16 bravery, 17 decision-making, 18 determination. His off-the-ball positioning, teamwork, and work rate are nice. Those will only get better. Technically, 12 dribbling, 12 first touch, 11 long throws, 11 passing, 15 technique. Now, they say he can play advanced midfielder on the right, and frankly, if I didn't have Burnett and a couple other kids, I would consider moving him up there, but he plays a complete wing-back, and he's also a very good wing-back on support as well, and that's what I would like to play over on the right. I've been playing full-backs and wing-backs. Magahalis is a better fullback than he is a wingback, but I would like to play wingback there. So he is going to come in and eventually replace Magahalis. He's got 821 caps for Austria so far. He comes in, he's already valued at 20 million. He's on a decent contract for us. I think paying 32 million for him is, I don't want to say it's a risk. I think we're going to get our money's worth out of him. I think in 3 or 4 years down the road, if he's not one of the best young right backs in the game, I would be very, very surprised. The question is the coach after me going to screw him up or not? Konstantin Froman comes to us from Atayaspor. He is a goalkeeper. He's my backup goalkeeper. 29 years old. Is one of those guys who I would be comfortable starting more than a few games, actually. 2-star current ability, 2-star potential ability, knows his limitations, plays within them really well. One of the things I like about him is that he's not really weak in any area. His vision of 10 is about the one thing you could quibble with. Physically, he's solid. Mentally, he's good. I like the 16 composure. You know, the 13 anticipation is nice. His goalkeeping skills are above average in terms of his command of area, his kicking, his one-on-ones. He's a decent passer. He's got decent reflexes. He likes to rush out. He's a sweeper keeper and a very good sweeper keeper. But he's also one of those who, I haven't played him yet, but he strikes me as a guy who knows his role and knows how to do that. He's here on a backup contract. He's happy to be here on a backup contract. I will definitely get him some playing time in the Pokal matches and maybe one or two of the Champions League games. We'll see how that goes. If Decker goes down for any amount of time, I'm comfortable with Froman starting games for us. Jamie Bino Gittins from Borussia Dortmund. They put him out for transfer, and I don't know why. Because at 23 years old, he's 3.5-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. He is a very good winger on the left. Now, I like Florian Held. Florian Held also has injury issues. And it's just one of those things where I was really kind of scraping the barrel last year because Held got injured, Marco Hen got injured, a couple other players got injured, and the guys I were playing were okay, but they weren't Bino Gittins okay. Physically, he's very solid. The 9 strength is the only thing you can quibble with, really, and that's not too bad for a midfielder. Mentally, the 3 bravery is just, it's not good. At one point in time, yeah, we're focusing on his aerial, hoping to get that up. If I can get that to like a 6 or a 7, I will be happy with that. The rest of his mentals are solid. I like the 15 off the ball. The 14 vision is nice. Technically, he's really good. 13 crossing, 16 dribbling, 16 first touch, 12 long shots. Passing's okay. The technique is nice. Those can probably get a little bit better. I will be playing him probably as an inverted winger on the left. I think he and Bernat are going to be a very good 1-2 punch, and I think they'll do a really good job of supporting Macaulay and Nico Schmidt up top. We're going to take a look at Nico Schmidt here in a second because I can't believe the improvements he made. Last but certainly not least, Lazino comes to us from Inter for $36 million, going up to $40.5 based on appearances and some international fees. I'm pretty good in the midfield. Lazino makes us better. 4-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. He is essentially Swiderski's replacement. 22 years old. Physically, really, really good. 18 balance is nice. Everything else is 13s or better. Mentally, again, really, really good. I love his anticipation, his decision-making, his off-the-ball, teamwork, vision, work rate are all solid. Technically, the 16 first touch is nice. The 12 dribbling is nice. 14 passing is great. The 18 technique is great. He is pretty much a prototypical deep line playmaker. And that is where he's going to spend a lot of time playing for us. As a matter of fact, I had him training as a deep line playmaker, and then I think I clicked something and wasn't paying attention, and we'll switch him back right here. So, I mean, as you can see, for everything that I highlight for deep line playmaker, he is already really, really good at. I mean, his lowest attribute looks like the 13s, and even then, that's nothing to sneeze at. Was kind of all over the place. Never really found a starting role at Inter. He came in from Club Brugge for $9.5 million, started half a season, then they loaned him out. I remembered him because he was at Hertha last year and had some decent games. Ended up with 3 assists and a 6.89 rating. We may have overpaid for him a little bit, but I think it's one of those cases where in the long run, we are definitely going to get our money's worth. So with De Graca and Pellegrini leaving, I knew I had one replacement in Sutherland. I was okay with Ojeda, Arjau. We loaned out. Did I go over loans? I thought I did. Yeah, Arjau we loaned out. Chalet we loaned out. Flesner we loaned out. Those are my, well, Arjau's a little bit older, but Chalet and Flesner are my young strikers with potential. They may not ever see the field for Kaiserslautern because Nico Schmidt, who's now 17 years old, who I swiped from Onzerbrook for $1.7 million. He came in as part of their youth intake last year. And my scouts saw, I had my scouts looking for youth players. he popped up, he graded out really, really high. I looked at his mentals, I looked at his technicals. I really didn't pay attention to his physicals because he was only 16 years old at the time, and thought, this kid has the potential to also be very, very good. I don't know what it is. I think it's the fact that he's 17 years old and he's already this good, and he's starting for us, because why not? We got the youth movement going on here at Kaiserslautern. We're turning the team over to younger players who are going to be good players in the long run. I think Nico Schmidt fits that bill perfectly. He's done okay for us. He did a good job for us in the preseason. He's getting better in the areas where I'm training him. He can only get better as a player. I think if he is not 3.5 stars at the end of this season, I'm screwing something up somewhere, because he's going to start almost every game for us. If you look at our depth chart, we're doing really well. For some reason, they've got Bino listed up top as a striker. He can play there, but it's not his best position by any stretch of the imagination. He's an okay advanced forward. He would be the guy I would bring in as my third striker if the situation required it. With Schmidt and Sutherland at the moment, I don't think that's necessary. Let me do this here real quick. Wiesner is solid at defensive left back. Swiderski is a capable backup. We also still have Beschker. He's my primary backup on the defensive back line. Wiesner, Krillo, Dressel, and Thiel can all play defensive center back, although Thiel will be my right back with Malga Hollis. Wiesner, Lucino, Swiderski, Felipe, Joel Matty is still here. I mean, we've got a lot of really good players with a lot of potential. I mean, between Mike Krause, Luzino, Wiesner, and Alex Martinez, we've got a ton of potential on the midfield line. And Martinez is probably going to get some playing time here as well at 17 years old. He actually came in through our youth intake a few years ago and has just been absolutely outstanding. I think one of the things I might do, I talked about this earlier in another episode, is FM22, the beta will come out and I'll do a single club save, and I'm going to control all aspects of training. And I'm going to break out the spreadsheet again and keep track and see if I can't do a better job of developing some of these youth players. Not that the computer does a horrible job, but I think I can do better. Preseason-wise, we did okay. We lost a couple games, but those were to Milan and Aston Villa. I wanted to get some more quality opponents. The board is still screwing me over on affiliates. I can't find a good one that I can send my players to. I'd offered out a couple of youth players to Kaisersalutern or TSG Kaisersalutern and Offenbach, and they said no, the quality, they didn't want to go there because they'd be dominating, which I completely understood. But we got through the preseason without injuries. I was quite happy with that. Our first round Pokal game was against Reutlingen, who are a regional team, much like Bautzen was last year. They put up a little bit better fight than Bautzen. We only scored 7 goals as opposed to 16. Bernat had a brace, Wiesner a goal, Schmidt a goal. Krause had a goal, Ojeda had a brace of goals. It wasn't really a game by any stretch of the imagination. I literally clicked play, and I think I went out back and played with George for a little bit. I came back in at the half, played the first few minutes of the half, made these substitutes and everything like that, and then went back outside, played with George, came back in a few minutes later, and we'd won 7-0. I did, however, sit down for the Hoffenheim game and the Mainz game. Hoffenheim was... We got lucky here. There's no way to put it. We totally FM'd them. We got a Bernat goal in the 92nd minute, and that was after we'd gone up 3-0 or 3-2 at the half. They got a goal from Mariotti in the 51st minute, and then we just absolutely FM'd them in the 92nd minute with a Bernat goal to get the victory against Mainz. It was... we had to claw the draw back. Jean-Philippe Mateta had a hat-trick's worth of goals. It was a good performance by him. Took a Bernat goal in the 77th minute and an Ojeda goal in the 88th minute. Ojeda actually came in off the bench, if I remember correctly. It's been a few days since I sat down to play this. Did Ojeda come in off the bench? Yeah, Ojeda came in off the bench. He replaced Schmidt, who wasn't having the best game. When that's going to happen, that's why I have Ojeda on the bench. And Ojeda rescued the draw for us. So today, what we're going to do, we have our Champions League draw, and then we're going to play Schalke. So, you know what? Let's go there. I believe we're 4th pot. Yep, we are. So the groups are Ajax is in A, PSG is in B, Inter is in C, Man City is in D, Benfica is Group E, Atletico Madrid is Group F, Hertha BSC, our enemy of the people, Hertha is Group G, Group H is Man United. Madrid goes to Group A, Barcelona to Group B, Chelsea to Group C, Borussia Dortmund to Group D, Bayern to Group E, Inter to Group F. No, that's not Inter, that's Juve. Oh, good grief, Jellicoe. Tottenham to Group G, and Lyon to Group H. Celtic goes to Group A, Zenit goes to Group B, Young Boys go to Group C, Porto goes to Group D, Monaco goes to Group E, Sporting to Group F, PSV goes to Group G, and Lazio goes to Group H. Sampdoria rounds out Group A, we go to Group B. Oh, good God. Wow. PSG, Barcelona, Zenit, who have been first in the Russian Premier League, or second, since the saves. They've been first every year but one. Chalov, Fabio Vieira. We definitely have our work cut out for us. Red Star rounds out Group C, Copenhagen Group D, Rosenborg Group E, RB Salzburg Group F, and we got Zenit, good grief. We got Genk and Sevilla. So Genk is Group G, and Sevilla is going to round out Group H. It's going to be a tough ask. So what I'm going to do is save this here. And then we got Schalke coming up in a couple of days. We'll end the episode with that, and then we'll take a look at what the schedule's like and figure out who we're going to play in our Champions League group stage first. So back in a bit. Well, we're playing Schalke today. It should be a fairly good game for us. We got Decker in goal, Thiel, Carrillo, Wiesner, and Jesus as the defensive back four. I'm retraining Jesus as a defensive left back, as an inverted wing back more than anything else on the left. He's equally footed. I think I'm training wing back right now, but I'll have to double check that. We got Lozino and Felipe in the midfield, Bernat and Gittins as the attacking midfielders, Schmidt and Sutherland up top as the strikers. Quick Jesus here real quick. The down arrows are just really kind of... Yeah, he's preferred right foot, but he is already a very capable inverted wingback on the left. What I need to do, actually, is when we go back here, kick off real quick, pause it, go to tactics. I think there was an update, and the skin is having issues with that. Yeah, we're going to leave Jesus on wingback because Gittins is already an inverted forward, or inside forward. We're going to leave Jesus on the wingback because Gittins is on the inside forward, and I don't want them both cutting inside. I have Felipe playing center mid on attack. He's really good at that. It means he's going to move up a little bit as well. Worst comes to worst, I will move him back to support. But this is what I played mostly in the preseason, and it did a good job for us. Harrett, corner kick in. Decker reaches up and grabs that. Throws out towards Sutherland. He gets it down to Felipe. Over to Gittins. Gittins cuts outside. Gets it over to, Jesus, but Wolf steps in front of him. Wolf gives the ball away to Wiesner, though. Wiesner to Felipe. Schmidt to Bernat. Takes the shot and he buries it. That was a very good goal and a very nice assist by Nico Schmidt. I do have a couple players out with injuries. Florian Held is not one of them, although he's not entirely match fit, which is why he's not starting today. It was a good goal by Bernat. We'll take a look at those guys here after the game. As an example, Joe Matty is injured, and now Lozino's injured. What did he do? Potential lower leg injury. Wow. Okay, so we'll bring on Swiderski. 8 minutes in for a guy we literally signed 3 days ago. Jesus to Sutherland. Back to Jesus. He cuts inside, feeds Sutherland. Oh, Sutherland tried getting it Bernat, but Zegby stepped in front of that. Bernat got it back. Gittins to Swiderski. Feeds Felipe. Oh, just wide left. That was a really good shot. Hart from well outside, gets it in, Wiesner knocks it away. Schmidt runs it down, gets by the one defender, gets it to Burnett. There's no one in front of him, gets over to Gittens. He takes the shot, but it was very soft. Newble had no problem stopping that. Jesus to Gittens, back to Jesus. He gets the ball to Sutherland, back to Jesus, crosses it in. Schmidt's there, but it's right at Newble. It's a good save by Newble. Harrott knocks the ball down to Wolf. Over to Jones. Out to Dest. In space. He crosses it in. Harrott's there, but he skies it over the crossbar. Half hour in, we've had more shots, more on target, but they've been a little bit better technically. Thiel on the throw-in to Burnett. Back to Thiel. He crosses it in. Sutherland's there, but it goes over the crossbar. I don't think I'm playing Sutherland as a complete forward like I talked about. Swiderski knocks that forward. Schmidt runs up and gets it, passes it out into space for Sutherland to run down. He drives forward, holds it up, cuts back inside, is dispossessed. He tried doing too much. Oh, Wolf gets the ball. Jesus tries taking it away from him, but Wolf gets up to Harrott. Nygren, one-on-one, takes the shot, pushes it just wide left. It hit the post and went out. Harrott. And Nygren got the header. What the heck happened there? That was a near post goal. That's what happened. Coming up on half, and Kurilla just picked up a knock too. Well, Kurilla picked up a knock right before the end of the half, so we took him off and we brought on Dressel. That just leaves us one sub the second half. Hopefully nothing bad, knock on wood, happens, and I just said that out loud, so we will have to wait and see. Gittens is not having the best game. At 65 minutes, I think he is the one we are going to get off here. At 65 minutes, I think he is the guy we're going to take off here. We're going to bring on Held. That's a little gas, but I can't do anything about that. 10 minutes left. No highlights the second half. That's really interesting. And that is the game. Schalke claws the drawback with a Nygren goal in the 41st minute. And we settle for a 1-1. Statistically, we were pretty even. We had more shots. We had more off target. They had the one Woodwork hit. They had more clear-cut chances than we did. Holy cow. Tell the boys I'm not happy with their performance. And we'll see what happened to Lozino here. He made his debut, and then 8 minutes later, he got injured. Krillo twisted his knee. He's out for a week. Oh, Lozino, that's good. Only a tight calf. He's out for 1 to 3 days. Now, you know what? Better safe than sorry. So I think what we're going to do is take a decent break, and we're going to come back for Bielefeld Zenit. And then we'll come back and do Barcelona, Eintracht Frankfurt. We'll skip the Paderborn game. And then come back and do probably Union Berlin, PSG. And then end with Zenit, Stuttgart. That plan breathes well. We'll have to see how well that comes to fruition. So we set a record for transfer spending, 126 million euros. I think we got some really good youngsters. I think we brought in some real quality players. I think they're going to do a job for us this season. We're going to stay upper mid-table. The goal is European football. I don't think we're going to get Champions League. It would be nice if we did. I just don't know that we have the quality for it yet. 2 or 3 years down the road, if these players would develop, yeah, sure. But I'd be happy with Euro Cup 2 football again. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, this is the final season. I'm going to coach this and put it up on YouTube. I've mentioned it in the past as well. What I'm going to do is essentially create 2 saves. I'm going to save the game, play this offline for me, but I'm also going to save it and then sim out 3, 7, and 10 years to see how the coaches following me do and how the players who are here and who have left have done, and whether or not Kaisersalutern can get to the top of the Bundesliga. So I think we're set up really nicely for the season. I don't think our expectations are set too high. I I think it's going to be a quality season for us. I think a lot of these youth players are going to get a lot of playing time and only get better. So we just need to do better than we did against Mainz and Schalke. We can't be losing games like that. So the big question is, what's the over-under on how many goals we're going to concede at PSG? That remains to be seen. But if you did like what you've seen and heard, please have a like, subscribe to the channel for more content. Questions, criticisms, comments, leave those down below. I will answer those as fast as I can. My name is FM Jellico. I thank you for watching.